Miklavcic, who is the executive director of the Davies Project. Pam, thank you for joining me tonight.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. It's nice to get out of my house.
I know, right? Virtually.
Virtually, of course.
Yeah. Pam, tell us a little bit first about the Davies Project. And you're going to share a really cool story with us. But first,
Oh, I
tell us
will.
about the Davies Project.
Yes, the Davies Project provides free rides to medical care for families that have a child with a serious medical condition. So we will make sure that child gets to every medical appointment they need to stay healthy. And this is really important in our community where 70% of the children who rely on the specialty clinics are on Medicaid and miss 60% of their medical appointments. And we drive expecting women to prenatal care, and we drive parents with infants in the neonatal ICU back and forth to the hospital to spend time with their infants. Everything we do is about helping our community's children be as healthy as they can possibly be.
Which is amazing. So thank you to that. Thank you for all the volunteers that help you out. And you do rely on volunteers to do this, correct?
We certainly do. We have about 70 volunteers from around the community right now. We always need more, and we especially need more now during this crisis because some of our drivers are older and have pre-existing conditions, and that makes them a little more vulnerable to the coronavirus. So we want to make sure we're keeping them off the road while making sure all of our children can still get to their medical appointments.
Well, let's talk about that before we tell your story, because you've got a great story you want to share about young people. Tell me about what you're looking for specifically. So if somebody's out there that thinks, hey, I could do this, even during this pandemic, you're looking for volunteers.
Yeah, I've had several people approach me saying, look, I've got free time right now and I'd be happy to help. And we think you might be shorthanded at this point. And that is definitely the case. So what we're looking for are adults over the age of 21 who don't have vulnerable people at home that they could possibly bring something back to, and who would do better with the virus if they caught it than somebody older with a pre-existing condition. So we're just, for example, a pastor from my church has said, you know what, I don't have kids, I live alone, I'd love to help right now. So we're working on setting up a virtual training to get her ready to get out and on the road.
And she's younger than 65?
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
Okay, so you're looking for people that are younger than 65 who are in good health, who could volunteer. How critical is it, Pam, especially now with what's going on with COVID-19? How critical is it?
It is very critical. The doctors are doing their very best to work with us to limit the patients that really can have managed skipping an appointment right now. But there are still a lot of critical appointments out there that children must be getting to, and we've got to do it as safely as we can.
Well, you have a story that we want to end with, or a couple stories maybe that will warm people's heart. Go ahead and tell those.
Well, I'm very excited to tell you that just last week, we drove a little girl named Mary Jane to her very last chemotherapy appointment. She came to us a little over 3 years ago, and we've gotten her to every kind of medical care that she needs to get to, all of her chemotherapy, all the extra specialty appointments, and she's thriving and doing wonderfully, and this would have been so hard without us. And I just want to give a shout out to Mary Jane right now because I think she's watching. And we're just so proud of you, Mary Jane, and you've come a long way, and we've loved working with you.
Well, that's wonderful. And you see this all the time, right? Because you have several patients that are young. And I've been to your breakfasts before. I've actually emceed them, and I hear the stories of the need that is in our community of people who have to get to the doctor's appointments in the wintertime with a stroller, going to the bus in the snow.
It's impossible. And so many of these families, if you miss 3 appointments, you're removed from that clinic for treatment. Or sometimes Children's Protective Services can be called as well. And so it's so important, not only for the health of the child, but just for the continued care of that child. And when the children get their care, they do better in school. They thrive. Their families do better. Everybody's under less stress. There's more hope. And the connections that the families have with our wonderful, wonderful team of drivers is just it's icing on the cake. It really makes what we do worthwhile. And I'll tell you, we have some of the best drivers in the world working for us. They just they are so committed to what we're doing, and so many, even through this epidemic, are just they're determined to be out there saying, "Look, these kids matter more than I do right now. Let's get them to their appointments." It's very special.
If somebody wants more information on the Davies Project or is interested in possibly volunteering as a driver, what do they do?
Two things. You could go to the website, thedaviesproject.org, and that is DAVIES, thedaviesproject.org. You could also call our coordinator at 517-899-2425.
All right. Well, Pam, we so appreciate the fact that you're here today and sharing your story with us. And the daviesproject.org, if you're interested in being a volunteer. Thank you for what you do, Pam. You are saving lives. And thank you to all the volunteers who you have with you as well.
Thank you very much, Bob.
Okay.
Okay.